Good morning. Hi, Roberta. Hi, Pamela. Listen to that lovely sound of water falling. So if you haven't joined me before, we have a lot. Good morning, Susanna. Good morning, Nancy. We have a lot of water in the Blue Mountains at the moment. And where I've decided to start a few minutes early is just beside this little creek that runs into the Katoomba River. Look at that ray of sun. Isn't that lovely? All right, I'm going to slowly make my way across the road and alongside the waterfalls to the first lookout. And that'll be our actual starting point. But what I wanted to show you, all you early joiners, early arrivals, is look how beautiful it is here this morning. Just ignoring that orange construction fencing over there. The sound of water falling. We're going to hear more of that as we go along, Nancy. I literally just went for a little walk across there between those two picnic benches, and in behind it is what we call a hanging swamp. And I sank down 3 inches into wet, soggy ground. It's still very wet around here. But look at the day we've got today. How spectacular. Isn't it gorgeous? Good morning, Jill. Good morning, Walter and Ava and Jayla. Hi, Igor. We're just going to cross the road here, and I'll show you the top of the Katoomba Cascades. Once again, I've changed up the order. Instead of starting at the Witch's Leap Falls, we're starting at the Katoomba Cascades. So we're going to cross the road here. For anyone who is not from a country where we drive on the left, we need to be mindful of traffic coming from the right as we cross the road. Good morning, Regina. Good morning, Chris. So this is a little park. We're in Katoomba in the Blue Mountains. And literally right next to the car park is the top of Katoomba Cascades, which flows into Katoomba Falls. So we just left a point where there was a little creek, and now we're crossing over to the top of the Cascades. So 25th of July here, coming up to 9:30 in the morning. My car temperature was showing me 10 degrees this morning as I got out of the car, but I elected not to bring my ski jacket and opt for just a long sleeve t-shirt instead, because I thought I'm going to get very hot as I walk. So here we are at the top of Katoomba Cascades. Good morning, Andrea. Good morning, Glenda. Feel free to pop into the chat where you're all from and give me a thumbs up if this is your first tour with me. So here we are at the top of the Cascades. Absolutely, and we're in the perfect spot to explain it, Igor. So the meaning of Katoomba is reputedly, there is some speculation over the accuracy of this, reputedly in the Gundungurra language, shining falling water. And we're going to head down to that little bridge a little later. But let's first of all head across to the first lookout, which is where I was planning to start from. I hope I haven't left myself short of time to get there. But that's okay. We're flexible on our tours. Good morning, Cindy and Walter. Did I already say hello to Walter? Welcome, Glenda. I'm glad to have you on board. Alrighty, so I'm just going to climb up these few stairs. Those who have been with me before know that you need to be standing behind me and giving me a bit of a shove when I go upstairs. This is a communal effort. So being in the middle of July, or towards the end of July actually, means that we're right in the middle of a southern hemisphere winter. And Katoomba being at altitude, for Australia that is, this is where we're headed to. Cliffview Lookout. It says it's 10 minutes, but it's actually not. It's only about 5. Nancy, I'm glad you understand what I'm talking about. There's a little bird flying across the path here, but he's too quick for me. Yes, he's already disappeared. So I can still hear the water in the background. And of course, we're going to come back and actually go down the steps towards the bottom of that cascade in a few minutes' time. Good morning, Linda. Good morning, Andre. Look at this beautiful gum tree. I know in some parts of the world you call them eucalypts, but us Aussies like to call them gums. I'm going to turn this one on its side because it's worth looking at. Give me a sec. 1, 2, 3. We're going sideways. There we go. Isn't that a beauty? Especially in the morning sun. All right, I'm heading back now to horizontal. 1, 2, 3. So what we're going to see along this little path is a very spectacular lookout. Driving down here this morning, there was lots of mist in the valley, so I'm hoping we might see some remnants of that as well. At 10 o'clock each day, Scenic World ramps up its equipment, one of which is this Scenic Skyway, and we might get to see it. Testing before they actually take paying customers on board. You'll see what I'm talking about in a moment as we turn this corner just down ahead here. In the meantime, this is the beautiful Australian bush. At low levels, we have lots of wattles and melaleucas and sprouting up in between the gum trees. All right, so I've noticed that we just ticked over 9:30, the start time. I'm going to just pause up ahead to officially introduce myself to you. So a minute late, but that's okay. Good morning, Robert. I think we've met before. I'm sure I've seen you on my tours before. Okay, so just up ahead here, I'll turn around and introduce myself to you. Hi, Sue. Yeah, here we go. Let's just pause up here. Oh, yes, lots of mist. I'm going to show you that in a second. Alrighty. Turn the camera around. Okay, so good morning, everybody. My name's Lynn, and welcome today to Katoomba in the Blue Mountains, which is a resort town about 80 kilometres to the west of Sydney. And before we begin, I would just like to acknowledge that we do meet today on the traditional lands of the Dorug and Gundungurra people and pay respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. All right, so you're here to see the views, not me. So let's turn this around and have a look at what we've got here. This is what they call the East Station, but it's not currently operational. But just from this point here, it's going to get better than this. This is just your preview shot. I'll zoom in on it. So this is the east station for the Scenic Skyway. Look at that beautiful mist in the valley. And if I just turn around to my right slightly, this is the commercial operation called Scenic World. And that blue and yellow thing over there is the Scenic Skyway. And we might get to see it at some point, crossing over on these cables. All right, but let's get to the lookout. Good morning, Christina, Judy, and Deborah. How is everybody this morning? And welcome to Katoomba. Oh, this is stunning. Just let me give these people some privacy. Good morning. Oh. And good morning, Heba. So this is called Cliff View Lookout. At the moment, our path to the left is blocked because of the condition of the track. You can see all the water. There is a lot of track work that needs to be done to make that trail safe heading east from here. But look at this. Oh my goodness. This is the most beautiful I've ever seen this, guys. Some sort of leaf blower action happening over on my left that you can hear. This is Mount Solitary. We don't have very high mountains in Australia. Our highest peak is, I think it's 1,670 metres, or around about just under 6,000 feet. And the Blue Mountains is part of the Great Dividing Range, which extends from Cape York in the north of Queensland right through to the east of Victoria. Is that cloud? Yes, it's cloud mist down in the valley. It was affecting flights out of Sydney this morning, slowing everything down a little. So what we're actually looking at here on our right is where the Scenic World commercial operation is located. Excuse me. I'll just zoom in on that a little. So for $50 for an adult, you can jump on all three of the rides, the Scenic Skyway, the Scenic Cableway, and the Scenic Railway. So this is the Scenic Skyway we're looking at here, that blue and yellow carriage. And it moves across this cable and stops at a point around about here so that it can get a great view of Katoomba Falls, which is just down there. We're going to get a better look at Katoomba Falls. Just trying to get it in shot. There we go. There's the bottom half of Katoomba Falls. We'll get to see it a bit better from one of the lookouts a bit further around as we progress on this tour. So to the left of the Scenic Skyway, you have the Scenic Cableway, which is that one there. It actually goes over the top of that and then descends down into the valley. I'll zoom out, it might be easier to see. Descends down into the valley. What people generally do is take the Scenic Railway. Heba, we're in Australia. So yes, the fog is sitting in the valley now. It doesn't always look like this. It's just the way the conditions are this morning. Absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely stunning. So over here we have a red platform, and what I want to show you is this is the world's steepest railway, the Scenic Railway. Started as a coal, part of a coal operation for shale oil. And you board on that red platform, it actually takes you down through that crevice, rock crevice, down to this platform at the bottom here. So you can see the angle that I'm talking about. It's 52 degrees is the angle for the scenic railway. And it's quite an exhilarating experience as you descend through that rock crevice from that platform over there. Good morning, Katie. Good morning, Carol. So one last look at the fog here before I move around to descend down and have a look at the Cascades. Grab your postcard. We'll be seeing it from a completely different angle in about 20 minutes from now. All right, let's move on. Yes, absolutely. And I imagine that at some point they would have been when the seas were a lot higher than they are now. There's evidence of mollusks and shells and what have you from, I think it's the Triassic period. I could be wrong about that. But at some point, this whole area was eroded. Okay, so we're going to head back now towards the Cascades. Katoomba is at an elevation of around about 1,000 metres, which is just under 3,000 feet, I believe, or just over 3,000 feet. And we're actually in the Blue Mountains National Park right now. I imagine that there should be lots of opportunities for fossil hunting around this area, Andre. I don't know much about that sort of thing, but I imagine that there would be. It's mainly sandstone with some shale, so my understanding is that that's a perfect environment for fossils. Good morning, Hayward from Key West. So we'll be listening out for little birds as well as we walk. If we're lucky, we may see a lyrebird. Lyrebirds are an extraordinary bird. They're an amazing mimic. And they've been known to mimic everything from a mobile phone call to a chainsaw, as well as every other bird in between. Hi, Brandy. Just on 9:30 in the morning here, Hayward. I hope you've had a wonderful day. We've just had probably about a week of rain, so this is a lovely delight to be doing this tour on a day like today. Yes, Susanna, yes, they can make the sound of a camera shutter, because obviously when they come across humans, it's often in a situation where people are taking photos, so they become familiar with the sound of the camera shutter. Oh, that's okay, Brandy. Thank you for joining. All right, so we're going to make our way down the steps here. And again, I need your help. I'll be holding onto the rail. I need someone to stand in front of me to catch me in case I fall. We're doing this as a team effort. And I might cut back on the talking while I go down these steps and just let you enjoy the sound of the waterfall and the view. Let me show you first of all on the map where we are and where we're going today. And of course, if you're new to Hago, in the top left-hand corner, there's a map that you could expand at any time just to orientate yourself. Oh, excellent, Susanna. That'll be perfect. All right, so the red dot up on the right-hand corner up the top there is where we're currently located. And you can see that, obviously, the blue line is the creek. We'll be walking along that for much of the way. We just went out. Whoops. Oh, excuse me. We're standing here. We've just been out to this lookout down here. Now we're going to follow the creek. After seeing the Cascades, we'll follow the creek along out to the 4 lookouts in this area here. So let's go. Good morning, Louise. Let me just change. Oh no, we'll do this down here. Slowly does it. Okay. All right, good morning, Betsy. Good morning, Louise. I said good morning, Louise, already. Did I? Good morning, Helen. To give you an indication, our normal rainfall for July, average rainfall is 81 millimetres. So far this month, we've had in Katoomba almost 600 millimetres. So that's what? More than 7 times our average rainfall, and we're only, 25th, we're almost at the end of the month. But that explains why everything at the moment is so wet. I am going to lose the signal a little bit around here, but it will come back. So we're quite familiar with the foibles of my signal in this part of the tour. We have beautiful tree ferns clinging to the rock wall on my left here. It's almost like a cave, a bit of an overhang above me. Whoops. Good morning, Shirley. Good morning. Oh, it's not good morning. Yes, we've been hearing a lot about the temperatures and the droughts in the north, and we can only sympathise since these are conditions that we ourselves are very familiar with here. As much as the high temperatures and the droughts usual for you guys, this amount of rain is unusual for us. I'm feeling really concerned for people living in the UK at the moment who definitely aren't used to the temperatures that they're experiencing. Good morning, Mary Lou. So we're standing under a big tree fern here. Look at this. And we're very grateful, Andre. Believe me, we are very grateful. We'll try and send some back to you at some point. Okay, we're getting ready for a postcard opportunity just along here. It's a lovely seat here and some stepping stones. And we're on our own at the moment. I usually see at least 2 of them. Hi, Mark. All right, my signal has dipped here. We're just going to quickly pan up to the top of the Cascades, and then I'll move on. So we'll move to an area where the signal's a little bit more reliable. Yes, just a reminder that this is the Katoomba is anecdotally the Gundungurra name which means shining falling water. How appropriate is that name? And a little bit later on, I'll teach you another Gundungurra word. Okay, let's move along. I'm not going to take you hop, skip and jumping across the stepping stones. We'll take the little footbridge instead. Let me see if I can get a shot of the footbridge for you. Not quite. The footbridge is just over there behind those trees. We're going that way. It's a very wet path here at the moment, you can see. I've been in wet shoes. Look at another shot from here. So looking to our right, into that might present an interesting opportunity for some sun flares. That's quite nice. Look at that through the ferns. And then over to my left is where the Cascades flows into Katoomba Creek and onto Katoomba Falls. So when you visit Sydney, of course you'll visit the Blue Mountains because it's pushed as a tour, a day trip. But it's worthwhile coming and doing these sorts of tours yourself if you're able, and just doing a self-navigated walk along these paths because they're so easy to find. And they're not very long. And they've been beautifully maintained mostly as well, which is fabulous. So we're leaving the sounds of the Cascades. And just walking along this lovely boardwalk with ferns on either side. We've been away for the weekend, so I'm not sure how much it rained over the weekend. From this point here, we're getting those glimpses back into the valley with the mist. So very soon we're going to come to another lookout and see if that mist is still there, which I'm sure it will be. Andre, in fact, most of Australia is bone dry. We happen to be in a rainforested situation at the moment. It can also get very dry here in drought conditions. The tree fern's gorgeous, Shirley. And good morning to Marie. If you haven't heard me give you a greeting by name, I know that when I join a tour, there is a bit of a delay between joining and pressing that unmute button. So I have said good morning to you, but you may just have missed it. I need to work out what the ideal time is between seeing your name pop up and knowing that you've actually unmuted. Look at the moss here. And we're going to pop out at this point at another lookout. Good evening, Eli. Here's another interesting shot of the moss. Look at this. There's so many different species growing here. Look at that. You've got little plants starting. Really fascinating. Now, this is the Duke and Duchess of York lookout. So I assume that Andrew and Fergie stood at this point at some point. And there we go. There's the mist still lying in the valley, looking at Mount Solitary in front of us, which is a mesa, a flat top mountain. Up there on our left, this is where we've just come from. So that's the east station for the scenic skyway. And we've just walked along there over to the Cascades and then come back along this path here. It's a stunning lookout, Judy. Have you been here? You're in, I think, Coffs Harbour, is that right? Good morning, Russell. So here again we can see the scenic skyway, the actual cable car. Zoom in on it. Looks like it hasn't started doing its practice runs yet. Sitting up there in a position ready to go. Now right beside us, I don't know if many of you have actually seen this plant before. It's called a grass tree or a kangaroo tail. And its botanical name starts with an X. It's called Xanthoria. This is the end of the flowering. So once the flowers are finished and it's become a seed pod, when it's in full flower, it's covered in teeny tiny little cream-coloured flowers all over that massive stalk. It's a very interesting plant. All right, we're going upstairs, the bit I hate. I hate this bit the most. So someone pushed me from behind. I'm okay if you plant two hands on my bum and just give me a big push. Very handy for Scrabble. Exactly, Susanna. Very handy for Scrabble. Look at this here. More of these mossy rocks. Yes, I will show you a point where there is still some rock climbing activity going on. If you join my Lookout to Lookout tour, I can't remember exactly when I've got the next one lined up. There's a fabulous spot there where they do. We call it abseiling. I think you guys call it rappelling. You've been to the Three Sisters? Yep. We're going to see the Three Sisters very soon. They're just sort of tucked around a corner, out of sight at the moment. But very shortly we're going to see the Three Sisters. And look at the undergrowth here. The mossy tree stumps. This is where you typically see the lyrebirds if they're hanging out. And if we don't see one, I'll show you a photo of what they look like. Okay, mosquitoes, not at this time of year, it's too cold. In some areas you can get a lot of mosquitoes. We did used to get a lot of mosquitoes in our current house. We have screens on all our windows. Where I was living in Sydney most recently, we didn't have any screens and we didn't have any problems. Snakes? Yes, there's lots of snakes. And I think in the 22 years that I've lived in the Blue Mountains, I've seen one, maybe two. Of course, you've probably heard that Australia lays claim to the most poisonous snake in the world. Oops. Which is the taipan. but it's only seen out in the outback. Excuse my huffing and puffing. Lots of stairs here. Good morning, Tina. All right, so up ahead, this is a bit of a, I think it dates from the 1940s era, when obviously Blue Mountain Council or whoever looked after tourism thought it would be a really good idea to make a fake cave, somewhere to have a picnic. We have a few of these in the Blue Mountains. They're very strange. Let's have a look inside. There's a picnic table. There's a column, obviously needed to hold the thing up. And someone's even added some fake handprints. It's a good idea. I think I'll find a seat where there's a view rather than inside that little cave. I'm going to show you the Three Sisters and catch up on the comments that I missed. So this one's called Solitary Lookout. Here we go. Solitary Lookout. Actually, there's a better spot of the Three Sisters a bit further around. We're only seeing one of the sisters at the moment. I think that's, I can always forget the third one's name. We've got Meanie, Wimla, and I think it's Gundaroo. Or, Susanna, you might be able to help me with that third name. All right, so yes, we're above the clouds. Let me just catch up on some of the comments that I missed. We talked about mosquitoes and snakes. Good morning, Tina. Thank you for joining. And yes, I'm being your legs today, Brandy. And good morning, Memphis Paul Stefan. Right, the cable, I was really hoping, I was really actually hoping that the Scenic Skyway would have come across and shown itself to you. Gonna do. Thank you, Susanna. Gonna do is the third sister, and I'm pretty sure that's what we see over here. The cable is for that Scenic Skyway, which is just out of shot at the moment, but from one of the next two lookouts we'll see it. Travels across. It's a cable car that has a disappearing floor. Now, I know that might unsettle some of you. Basically, when you step onto the cable car, the glass floor is translucent. And then as it departs from the station, it becomes totally transparent. So you can see down through the floor into the valley below. And until I have anywhere near Alex's numbers on my tours, I'll only be showing it from this vantage point. But I tell you what, if you guys can whip me up enough people to pay for my ticket cost, I'll take you on that one day. Not for you, Susanna. You're in the safety of my capable hands. You have to join me. I promise I'd hang on tight. You've been on the Skyway, Judy? It's amazing. It is absolutely amazing. It is definitely worth doing. I recommend it. I bring all my visitors here. All right, so now this is where we get to see the three ladies, the three beautiful ladies. Look at them. Look at them over here. I'm going to zoom in on them for you. Okay. Let's zoom in on Mini, Wimla, and Gunadu. Judy, the scenic railway is absolutely amazing. I love it. And of course, they play the Indiana Jones theme on the way down. All right, I'm going to give you a chance to take your photos here. Take your postcards. I'm going to zoom out a little so you can see it with Mount Solitary as well. Let's try and get Mount Solitary in shot. Oh, I'm loving the clouds today. They are just putting on such a show for us all. Look at that. Thank you, Shirley. And then, of course, down on our left, we have Katoomba Falls. So we saw the top of the Cascades. We saw halfway down the Cascades. We followed the creek along. And this is where it all ends up. I'm going to tilt down, 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 down. It ends up down there. And this, of course, is just one of the waterways that flows into the catchment for the Sydney water, for our Sydney water drinking supply. So what we're actually looking at here, right over in the distance, good morning, Ronnie Lynn, and good morning, Renee. Right over in the distance where all those clouds are sort of hanging out in the distance would be Warragamba Dam, which is Sydney's water supply. All right, let me zoom in one last time on our beautiful three ladies before we move along. There we go. How beautiful they're looking this morning. And the story of how they turned into stone. There's two stories, but the main one, the most accepted one, is that the three young women were from one tribe and they fell in love with three young warriors from another tribe, and the two tribes went to war because they were not permitted to be together. In order to protect them, the Magi, what's his name? The medicine man for the tribe turned them to stone with the intention of returning them to their original selves once the fighting was over, but he was killed in the battle. So there they stand. Over on my right over here is a rock formation called Orphan Rock. And Orphan Rock was the major draw card to the Blue Mountains for tourists back in the early 20th century. We're talking sort of 1920s era. If I zoom in on Orphan Rock, you might be able to pick out the rail, the guardrail, sort of winding its way up the side that's facing us. Thanks, Brandy. It is an interesting story. I need to get better at telling it, don't I? Of course, the Scenic Skyway car is totally out of view now. It's just not playing nice with us at all today. I really thought we'd see it coming across. So there's another lookout over there. We won't be going that far. There's a fellow in an orange jacket over there. But down beneath us, just at this point, we are going to go down and have a look at this little lookout down here. So come with me. That's where we're heading next. Are we ready? Let's go. Oh, you want a vertical shot of the falls? Yep, sure. Sorry, Haywood. I will do that before we move on. I'll get over as far as I can to the right and see if we can get it all in shot for you. Let me see. You ready? 1, 2, 3. How are we going with that? How does that look? I think that's about the best I can do. All right, returning to normal. 1, 2, 3. Excellent. Thanks for the prompt on that one. That was Haywood. Thanks, Haywood. Oh, I'm glad I didn't wear my ski jacket. It's warmed up beautifully. All right, so we're going down these steps here. Just swap hands so I can hold the rail. Just talk amongst yourselves while I go down these stairs. Okay, around this corner. Down through this rock. This is probably my favourite part. It's kind of satisfies that the inner child of exploring a cave. And this is Orphan Rock Lookout. So, of course, we've seen the rock. It just gives you a different perspective. Let's have a look at our ladies again. There we are. Because we're slightly down lower, really feels like you're sitting on the mist, doesn't it? We're looking at the Jamison Valley here at this point. And then just beyond Orphan Rock, there's another escarpment that's actually called Narrow Neck. Narrow Neck divides the Jamison Valley. Let me just show you these birds down here, if I can get in close enough. Divides the Jamison Valley from Megalong Valley. I reckon they're cockatoos. Can you see them? And someone was just asking me the names of the ladies again. Yeah, we'll go back through those, Tina. Brandy. So the ladies' names again are, here we go. Oh, sorry. I'm interrupted. I'm being interrupted. Should have been paying attention. The ladies' names are Meenie, Mwehni, Wimla, that's Wimla, and Gunadu. Now, that's your scenic skyway. Now, they're going to get across to, they probably sit, from our perspective, almost above the Three Sisters. They're going to stop there and take a look at the falls from that point, and then turn around and head back. They're not going to go across to the East Station. Unless something's changed in the last week that I don't know about and they make a liar of me. Who joined that I missed? Good morning, Ken. Good morning, Francis. Oh, don't tell me they're going to make a liar of me. Looks like they might go across all the way to the East Station. Ah, no, they're stopping. There we go. So the latest thing that they've added, so these are the same people that own Bridge Climb, which is the Sydney Harbour Bridge. And you can pay extraordinary amount of money to climb up, tethered to cables, and climb up on top of the Sydney Harbour Bridge. They also own Scenic World. And the latest thing that they've added to their suite of things that you can pay for is that you can be strapped to a cable, a tether, and actually climb up on top of that thing and, I don't know, have a cup of tea or something. Cheese plate. Well done, Shirley. What do you reckon? Do you want to sit on top of this carriage here, this cable car? That's a no from Brandy. Andre, I had a suspicion you might. If I do it, if I ever get enough people to say yes, they're willing to do it, I might try it one day and you can all come with me. But I probably need to give lots of notice and get lots of people booking because at the moment $50 a ticket is just putting me off a little bit. All right, we're just going to watch the cable car get back to the West Station, the main station, and then we'll head off. I know I'm going a little bit over time, aren't I? Anyway, you should have got some good postcards out of that. That's true, Igor. That is true. All right. So Tina, I think, asked for a shot of the rocks that we're standing in. This is heading back out again. And we were standing just up there looking down on this cool little cave. I just got a sun ray coming through. A pic of me. Oh, all right. Okay, all right. Hang on. Let's do this one first. Here I am next to Orphan Rock. I find it hard to get me in pics. There. How's that? There's Orphan Rock. And if I turn around, eek. I've got a battery pack attached with a cable in my pocket, so it's tugging on the gimbal a little. Here we go. Can we get the three sisters in the background? Oh, struggling with the light. All right, let's go on to the last lookout, which is Witch's Leap Falls. Back through the cave. Let's look up. Look up, look up. Thanks, Alexis. I've reached that point in my life where I don't know what to do with my hair. I don't know if I should cut it or leave it. That's why I've strapped this funny eternity scarf around it. Look at the colour of the lichen here. Or at least I hope it's lichen and not someone with a spray can. Right, back up some stairs and then onto Witch's Leap Falls. You may have noticed we can still hear water. So this is a different waterfall around this side. Funny you should say that, Alexis. I've got a bottle of purple hair dye in my bathroom cupboard right now, looking at me going, I dare you to use me. So here we're looking down into the gorge here. And then around this side, all this is lit up at night. They have floodlights in this area. We've done the night tour once. I'm not convinced it worked particularly well. It was interesting. So you can actually see water dripping off the cliffs over here. Look at this. And you can hear the water, but we can't see the falls just yet. Need to move a little bit further around. You're welcome, Igor. All right, so just heading towards the last lookout. I've never met the Hawaii guide. She must be at completely the wrong time of day for me, I suspect. All right, so as you probably all know, Hago guides do this for you on a free basis. We're not paid at all by Hago. So the only money that we earn is through tips. We're always grateful for any tips. We don't expect them, but we're always very grateful for them. This is the final fall on our tour. So if you've enjoyed your tour with me today, I really thank you and appreciate your company. I always am grateful for you coming on my tours. And if you are able to spare a small contribution, I'm very grateful for that as well. And that's where I'll end my tour today. Let's turn around so that you can see that fall in the background. Thank you, Roberta. And thanks, Betsy. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Let's see if we can get the Witch's Leap Falls in the background. Bit of a trick trying to catch it. Thank you, Nancy. My next tour, I think, unless I schedule something in the meantime, is on Saturday. And we'll be going to the National Trust Woodford Academy, where they're having a most Wuthering Heights day ever. And that's going to be a lovely, fun experience. So I encourage you to join me on Saturday if you can. And otherwise, I'll see you somewhere on another Hago tour. Thank you very much, everybody. And bye for now. Oh, thank you, Nancy. Zoom in on the falls? Yes, of course. You're welcome, Susanna. Thank you. Thank you always. Let me see. Zoom in on these falls over here. There we go. I'll try and get in vertical as well. 1 second. There we go. And I'll sign off there. Bye, everybody.